Have you ever wondered what truly happy retirees do differently? Let me share something that will surprise you. Most people think retirement is about relaxing, traveling, and finally doing nothing after decades of hard work. But the truth is far more interesting. A 20-year study from the Stanford Center on Longevity found that retirees who engage in specific types of activities live an average of 7.3 years longer than those who don't. 7 years? That's not just more time, that's more birthdays with grandchildren, more anniversaries with your spouse, more sunsets you get to watch. But here's what shocked researchers the most. The activities that matter aren't what most people expect. Traveling comes in at number 4, golf and hobbies, number 3. The top 2 activities are things most retirees completely overlook. And the number 1 activity, the one that adds the most years and the most joy to your life, is something so simple that when I tell you, you might not believe me. Today, I want to walk you through all 4 activities, and I want you to pay close attention, because if you're retired or planning to retire soon, these 4 things could be the difference between surviving retirement and truly thriving in it. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the Before and After Retirement channel and turn on notifications so you never miss insights that can transform your retirement years. And please share this video so more people can discover what really makes retirement meaningful. Let's start with activity number 4, travel. A lot of people are surprised when they hear that travel only ranks 4th. Really? Yes, travel is wonderful, but not always in the way most retirees assume. According to research from Boston College's Retirement Research Center, travel can add about 1 to 2 years of quality life to your retirement. That may not sound dramatic at first, but remember, that number is only an average. In reality, the difference from person to person is huge. Some retirees travel constantly and feel exhausted, disconnected, and actually less happy. But the retirees who travel intentionally, who travel with purpose, who travel in ways that create real memories and real connections, those are the ones who benefit the most. The truth is this: what helps most retirees isn't traveling a lot, it's traveling in the right way. You don't have to visit every continent. You don't even have to go far from home. You just have to travel with intention. And over time, that alone can transform your retirement. Let me tell you about a man named William. William retired at 64 from a career in engineering. For 40 years, he barely took vacations. When he did travel, it was rushed, scheduled, and stressful. He'd visit 3 cities in 5 days, take hundreds of photos, and come home needing a vacation from his vacation. So when he retired, he promised himself he'd travel differently. He and his wife rented a small cottage in the mountains of North Carolina for an entire month. No itinerary, no checklist of things to see, just living. They woke up without alarms, they walked the same trail every morning and noticed how it changed each day. They shopped at the local farmers market and learned the names of the people who sold them vegetables. They sat on the porch every evening and watched the light shift across the valley. William told me that 1 month in the mountains taught him more about rest, about presence, about what retirement could be than all his previous vacations combined. That's the secret of travel in retirement. It's not about how far you go, it's about how deeply you experience where you are. Slow travel, intentional travel, travel that connects you to places and people instead of just checking boxes. That's what adds years to your life. Travel, when done right, reduces stress, stimulates your brain, creates joy, and gives you stories worth telling. But remember, that's only number 4. The activities ahead are even more powerful. Coming in at number 3 is something that surprises most people: hobbies and recreational activities. Things like golf, gardening, painting, woodworking, and playing music. These activities can add an average of 2 to 3 years to your retirement life. But here's what makes hobbies truly powerful. It's not just the activity itself, it's what the activity does to your brain and your sense of purpose. When you engage in a hobby, especially one that requires skill, learning, or creativity, your brain lights up in ways it doesn't during passive activities like watching television. You're solving problems, you're improving.
You're creating something that didn't exist before. And that process, that act of making progress, keeps your mind sharp and your spirit alive. Let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret retired at 62 after 38 years as a nurse. She loved her work, but it had consumed her life. When she retired, she felt lost. Her identity had been tied to her job for so long that without it, she didn't know who she was anymore. Her daughter suggested she try something creative, something she'd never had time for. Margaret had always been drawn to pottery, but never tried it. So at 62 years old, she signed up for a beginner's class at a local studio. The first few weeks were humbling. Her hands wouldn't cooperate. The clay kept collapsing. She felt awkward and clumsy, but she kept going. And slowly, something shifted. She started looking forward to her pottery sessions. She'd arrive early and stay late. She experimented with glazes and shapes. She made bowls for her children, vases for friends, pieces she kept just because she loved how they turned out. 3 years later, Margaret has a small corner of her garage set up as a studio. She throws pottery 3 times a week. She sells a few pieces at local craft fairs, but that's not why she does it. She does it because when she's at the wheel, shaping clay with her hands, she feels fully alive. She's not thinking about what she used to be. She's focused on what she's creating right now. That's the magic of hobbies in retirement. They pull you into the present moment. They give you a sense of progress and accomplishment that has nothing to do with money or status. They remind you that you're still growing, still learning, still capable of mastering something new. And when you feel that, when you experience that kind of engagement, your brain stays healthy, your mood lifts, and your retirement becomes about creation instead of just consumption. But hobbies, as wonderful as they are, only rank third. The next 2 activities are far more powerful. Activity number 2 is something most retirees completely underestimate: volunteering and giving back. This isn't just about being charitable. This is about adding an average of 4 to 5 years to your life. Yes, you read that correctly, 4 to 5 years. A landmark study for the Corporation for National and Community Service followed 15,000 retirees over a decade and found that those who volunteered regularly had significantly lower rates of depression, stronger immune systems, better heart health, and lived noticeably longer. But the real impact of volunteering isn't just physical, it's emotional and psychological. When you retire, one of the hardest losses isn't the paycheck, it's the feeling of being needed, of mattering, of knowing that your presence makes a difference. Volunteering gives that back to you. Let me tell you about Robert. We talked about Robert earlier, but this part of his story deserves more attention. After 4 months of retirement, Robert was sitting on his couch, flipping through channels, feeling invisible. His company had replaced him. His kids were busy with their own lives. His wife had her routines, and Robert felt like he didn't matter to anyone anymore. His wife finally convinced him to try volunteering at a local literacy center. Robert resisted at first. He didn't think he had anything special to offer, but he showed up anyway. His first student was a man named Marcus, 43 years old, father of 2, worked in construction his whole life and could barely read. Marcus had hidden his illiteracy for decades. He'd memorized work orders, asked co-workers for help without admitting why, and avoided any situation that required reading. But now his daughter was in 3rd grade, bringing home books she wanted him to read with her, and Marcus couldn't do it. That shame, that desperation brought him to the literacy center, and that's where he met Robert. For a year, Robert and Marcus met twice a week. Progress was slow, painful, and frustrating, But Marcus kept coming, and Robert kept showing up. Then one evening, Robert got a phone call. It was Marcus, crying. He had just read his first complete book to his daughter, a simple children's book, but he read every word, and his daughter had looked at him like he was a hero. Marcus told Robert, "You gave me back my dignity, man. You gave me back my relationship with my daughter." Robert said that moment meant more to him than any promotion, any raise, any achievement in his 40-year career, because for the first time in months, he felt like he mattered again. That's what volunteering does. It reconnects you to purpose. It reminds you that you still have something valuable to offer the world. And when you feel needed, when you feel useful, your body responds. Stress hormones drop. Inflammation decreases, your immune system strengthens, your heart literally becomes healthier. Volunteering isn't charity, it's medicine. And the best part? You don't need special skills, you don't need credentials, you just need to show up consistently and care. Mentor a young person, serve meals at a shelter, read to children in a library, help at an animal rescue, drive seniors to medical appointments. The cause doesn't matter as much as the commitment. Show up, be present, give what you have, and watch how it transforms not just the people you help, but your own life. But even volunteering, as powerful as it is, only ranks second. The number one activity is something so simple, so ordinary, that most retirees never think about it. And now we reach the activity that matters most, the one that research shows adds the most years, the most health, and the most happiness to retirement. It's not exotic travel, it's not expensive hobbies, it's not even volunteering, though that's incredibly important. The number one activity that transforms retirement is something you can do right now, today, without spending a single dollar. It's maintaining and deepening your social connections, friendships, relationships, community. Simply put, staying connected to human beings. According to a groundbreaking study from Harvard that followed people for over 80 years, the longest-running study on happiness ever conducted, the quality of your relationships is the single strongest predictor of how long you live and how happy you are in retirement. Not wealth, not career success, not even health, relationships. People with strong social ties live an average of 7 to 8 years longer than those who are isolated. But it gets even more specific. Retirees who maintain at least 3 close friendships, who see friends regularly, and who have people they can talk to honestly, have 50% lower rates of cognitive decline, 60% lower rates of depression, and significantly better heart health. Your relationships aren't just emotional support, they're life support. Let me tell you about a man named Thomas. Thomas retired at 66 after a successful career in sales. He was good at his job, respected, well-liked. But when retirement came, something unexpected happened. His phone stopped ringing. The colleagues he'd spent decades with moved on. His old clients didn't need him anymore, and Thomas realized that most of his friendships had been built around work. Without work, those friendships faded. Within 6 months, Thomas was lonely, deeply, painfully lonely. He had his wife, and he was grateful for her, but he didn't have anyone to talk to about his struggles, his fears, his sense of losing himself. His wife finally convinced him to try reconnecting with his old college roommate, Jack. They hadn't spoken in almost 20 years. Thomas was nervous. What would they even talk about? But he sent an email anyway. Jack responded within an hour, thrilled to hear from him. They set up a video call. That first call lasted 3 hours. They talked about their kids, their health, their regrets, their hopes. They laughed about stupid things they'd done in college. They admitted things they'd never told anyone else. And when they hung up, Thomas felt lighter than he had in months. They started calling every week. Then they planned a trip to meet in person, a weekend fishing trip like they used to do in their 20s. Sitting by that lake, lines in the water, Thomas told Jack something he hadn't been able to tell anyone. "I don't know who I am anymore without my job." Jack nodded. "Yeah, me too. I felt the same way when I retired." Just hearing that, knowing he wasn't alone, changed something in Thomas. They talked for hours about how to rebuild identity, how to find meaning, how to navigate this strange new chapter of life. That friendship became a lifeline, and Thomas started reaching out to other friends. Not everyone responded, some had moved on, but a few did. And slowly Thomas built a circle of real connections, people who knew him, who cared about him, who checked in on him. Those relationships didn't just make him happier, they made him healthier. His doctor noticed his blood pressure had dropped. Thomas was sleeping better, he had more energy, he smiled more.
All from reconnecting with people who mattered. That's the power of relationships in retirement. They're not optional, they're essential, because human beings are wired for connection. When we're isolated, our bodies treat it like a physical threat. Stress hormones rise, inflammation increases, the immune system weakens. But when we're connected, when we have people we trust, people we can be honest with, people who see us, our bodies relax, our nervous systems calm down, our health improves. So how do you build or rebuild social connections in retirement? Reach out to old friends, even if it's been years. Join a group based on your interests, book clubs, hiking groups, volunteer organizations. Say yes to invitations, even when you don't feel like it. Be the one who initiates, don't wait for others to reach out first. Show up consistently to the same places so people start recognizing you. Be vulnerable, share honestly, let people see the real you. And most importantly, invest time. Relationships don't build themselves, they require intention, effort, presence. But the return on that investment is extraordinary. Years of life, decades of happiness, a sense of belonging that no amount of money can buy. When you step back and look at all four activities, one truth becomes crystal clear. Retirement isn't about stopping, it's about redirecting. Travel gives you new perspectives. Hobbies give you purpose and creativity. Volunteering gives you meaning. And relationships give you life itself. Add them all together and you're not just filling time, you're building a retirement that's richer, longer, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. But here's what most retirees forget. You don't have to do everything at once. Start with one, just one. Call an old friend this week. Sign up for that class you've been thinking about. Volunteer one afternoon in a month. Plan one intentional experience, a trip, a project, something that excites you. If you do those three things, your transformation has already begun. And if you want to keep going on this journey, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Every week I share insights to help you make your retirement not just longer, but truly worth living. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. Your best years are still ahead.